Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to do another ranking video, this time for what is probably my favorite horror franchise, and that is the Chucky franchise. I feel like for the most part, almost every single movie, or really every piece, because there's a TV show as well, but every piece of this franchise is in some way pretty solid. Even though there's still a few movies in this franchise that aren't so great, I still find things in those movies that I really enjoy. Now, I've decided to exclude the Chucky TV series from this ranking. It's mainly just so I could focus on the films. The TV series is great in my opinion. I'm very sad that it got canceled. I do hope that they continue the story in some way, either with another film or if maybe a different TV station, streaming service, whatever. Maybe they pick it up and then they continue the show. So in no way do I think that the show is bad. That's not why I'm excluding it. I'm only excluding it just so that I can focus on the movies. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you like this kind of stuff. If you're a fan of Chucky, a fan of horror, or just a fan of physical media and movies. And please let me know in the comments what your ranking of the Chucky franchise is. And if you'd like to see more rankings like this, please let me know in the comments as well of what kind of a ranking you'd like to see. Maybe there's a franchise that you really like and you'd like to see my thoughts on it. I'm pretty familiar with pretty much all horror franchises. There's very few that I haven't seen yet. So yeah, let's get into the ranking. In 7th place, I have The Seed of Chucky. Now this was the 5th entry in the Chucky franchise. It came right after Bride of Chucky and continues his story with his bride, Tiffany Valentine. Now this came out during the time where they were kind of rebooting Chucky in a way as more of a comedy horror series rather than a serious slasher, if that makes sense. Which in my opinion works well. I think that's one of the things that I like about Bride of Chucky and Seed of Chucky is that comedy element that they added to it. I know a lot of people don't like that. They prefer the more serious Chucky, the more, you know, slasher, serial killer kind of Chucky. While all that's still there, Bride of Chucky and Seed of Chucky kind of go off a little bit and just have a little fun. And that's one thing I can really appreciate about this one, is it really is a lot of fun. There's a lot of crazy stuff in this. It's just a wild movie, really. Now, this movie is kind of a family movie. It's a movie about Chucky and his wife, Tiffany Valentine, who gives birth to a new doll that they call Glenn/Glinda. They named the doll Glenn or Glinda because Tiffany and Chucky are fighting over whether or not the doll is going to be a boy or a girl. Now, if you haven't seen the doll that they used for the offspring of Chucky and Tiffany Valentine, it looks very much like David Bowie, and it's kind of really creepy. I don't know, this one's just a very odd one, so if you're into getting into the Chucky franchise, expect that this one's going to be a really weird one. Now for me, when I watch this, I don't go into it looking for anything serious. I already know that this one's just a big, silly, you know, fun movie, so I enjoy it for that. But I am glad that after this one, they cut back on the comedy a little and they went back to these more serious roots that they started with in Child's Play. This was also out during the 2000s, so it was during the time where for some reason they had rappers in a lot of these horror slasher films. I think Busta Rhymes was in Halloween. And then here you can see Redman was in this for like a short bit. Really weird pattern that they did there in the 2000s. The 2000s were really weird for horror in general, so yeah, I don't know. This is a perfect example of some of the horror that we were getting in the 2000s. But with all that said, I do still enjoy this one, and it's one of those movies you just throw on and you just kind of laugh, and you know, you don't take it too serious because you know it's goofy. But yeah, as for ranking it on this franchise, it's definitely the last one for me. In my opinion, the other ones are far better. But I do still have a good time with this one. At number 6 on the ranking, I have Child's Play 3. Now, I wouldn't say this movie's terrible, you know, it's just coming after Child's Play and Child's Play 2, two super strong movies, and some even say that Child's Play 2 is better than the original. Coming out with this one after that is just a big drop in quality. This movie takes place further in the future when Andy is grown. He's like a teenager now, and he's gone to like this military boot camp kind of thing. This sort of finishes off what we thought was the Andy Barkley trilogy. So Chucky tracks down Andy at this military boot camp thing, and he's continuing his purpose of trying to kill him and to get his revenge for what he did to him in the past 2 movies. Now, similar to Seed of Chucky, but not super similar, there's still some like goofy moments in here. But the difference with this and Seed of Chucky is Seed of Chucky was doing that on purpose. This movie had a bunch of goofy moments for no reason. One of the things I do like about this movie is some of the characters that are in that military school with Andy. For instance, there's this little kid that Chucky is trying to, he's trying to do what he was originally trying to do with Andy in the first 2. He's trying to possess his body. Obviously, Chucky doesn't want to be stuck in a doll. He wants to be in a real body, so he's moving on to a new kid that he can try to possess and take over his body. Of course, Andy's not going to let that happen, so, that's kind of where the plot comes in here, is Andy's trying to stop him, but Chucky's also trying to get revenge on Andy. And for those reasons, it's number 6 on my ranking. Now, the rest of the movies in this franchise, in my opinion, are pretty solid movies, so I'm really excited to talk about these. At number 5, I have The Cult of Chucky. Now, if you're watching Chucky, this may be confusing for new viewers that have never seen Chucky, so hopefully you have some knowledge of Chucky. But this one follows basically a new story that was started with Curse of Chucky. It follows a character named Nika who cannot walk. She's in a wheelchair. In the previous movie, spoilers if you have not seen it, she is framed for the murders that Chucky commits, and she ends up going to a mental asylum. Obviously, she's claiming that this doll is the one that did all the killings, but of course nobody believes her. Once again, Chucky's trying to finish the job, so he ends up going into this mental asylum, and he ends up creating like this cult of Chuckies. Like this is I believe the first movie that introduces multiple Chuckies. This movie's also the final movie that has come out. The movie does end on a cliffhanger, especially with all those Chucky dolls, and it leads into the TV series. So if you're out there and you're unaware of the TV series but you have seen this, the story has continued. It's just not in a film, it's in a TV show. And I highly recommend watching that TV series. There is some, again, like some of these Chucky stuff, a little bit goofy moments, a little cringe, especially involving the teen characters that are in the show. But still very good show, and I really highly recommend it. Now, Nika is played by Fiona Dourif, which is actually the daughter of Brad Dourif, who does the voice for Chucky. That's another really cool thing about this franchise, is you get to see this father and daughter duo, and they work so well together, even when it's just him as a voice in the doll, and then her, so they're not technically together. She has like facial characteristics that he has because she's his daughter. So in the TV show, when they do flashbacks, and maybe even in this movie, I can't remember, but I know there's flashbacks in the show, she actually wears like a wig and puts like a fake mustache on, or facial hair or whatnot, and she plays her father in the TV series. Because Chucky wasn't always a doll. Chucky was once Charles Lee Ray, so they do some flashbacks to give him origins and how he became a serial killer, how he got into the doll. So she actually plays him in the TV series, which I think is really cool. But yeah, if you love Chucky and you want to see a Cult of Chucky, then Cult of Chucky is perfect for you. At number 4 on my ranking, I have Curse of Chucky. Now, this was the first film after Seed of Chucky that brought it back to being a more serious, scary horror film rather than a goofy, fun movie. This follows Chucky terrorizing a brand new family, specifically Nika, who I just spoke about for the last movie. Now, I won't spoil, just in case you haven't seen it, but there is a connection between Chucky and Nika, and there's a reason why he's going after them. So he's not really just going after a random family. There is a little motivation behind it, and a whole backstory, which they show in the film. There's like a whole flashback sequence. Personally, I enjoy this one more than Cult of Chucky. I know it's kind of, with those two movies, they're both good, and most people regard them as good, but a lot of people go back and forth on which one is better. For me, I really enjoy this one because it just felt like a actual serious, scary slasher film. But anyways, this is a great introduction to Fiona Dourif as Nika, and she's one of the best characters in the franchise. She's so good in this franchise, as she plays multiple things. Like I said before, she plays Charles Lee Ray, before he got turned into the doll, and then of course she plays herself. But she's so good, and she resembles Brad Dourif so much. Like there's moments in the show when she does play her father, she does the Chucky laugh, and it sounds just like his laugh. Like, it's just so good. I do hope one day that I get to meet Brad Dourif and Fiona Dourif, because they're just really cool to me. And it's so cool that they're in the same franchise together. That's cool. Now, the only real complaint I have with this movie, and it's just a small minor one really, I wasn't a huge fan of the Chucky doll design in this movie for a while, but then towards the end, his new face, he got like touched up or something. I don't know how he did it, but somehow he got touched up. And towards the end, it kind of peels off, and it goes back to having the scars that he got from he got in Child's Play 3 at the end, but it's first seen in Bride of Chucky. But I'm really a fan of that design. That's my favorite Chucky design, is the one with the stitches. So at the end of the movie, towards the end, when it comes off and you see the scars again, that was really cool, and it kind of saved my complaint from the movie about the design. This is pretty much the design they kept, though, for the TV show, which over the years I've kind of grown to it, but I still prefer that original Chucky design. But yeah, Curse of Chucky, great film, great return to being a more serious kind of slasher film, and it's number 4 on my ranking. At number 3, I have what I may consider to be my favorite, my personal favorite, but I put it in 3rd because I do think the other 2 are better films overall. And in number 3, I have Bride of Chucky. Now, this is the start of them doing a new direction where they start to throw it into a more comedy sort of direction. Not too bad in this one. There's still, most of the comedy in this is between Chucky and Tiffany Valentine, but they have just such great chemistry. Jennifer Tilly as Tiffany Valentine is so good. She is iconic in this franchise. Personally, she might be my favorite character in the entire Chucky franchise. Something about Jennifer Tilly as Tiffany Valentine is just perfect in my opinion. And her and Brad Dourif working together as the 2 dolls, Chucky and Tiffany, it's just so good. This movie also has an iconic intro, one of my favorite intros in all of horror. It opens with Tiffany Valentine stitching up Chucky after his face got destroyed in Child's Play 3. And Rob Zombie's Dragula is playing while it's happening, and it's so cool. It's a great opening. Now, the 2 main characters in the movie aren't super great. I think that's the one downside of this film, is the main characters, besides Chucky and Tiffany, aren't really great characters. But the main reason I love this movie is just for Chucky and Tiffany. This is the first film that we get them in. It has an iconic poster, iconic title copying The Bride of Frankenstein. And I just really love it. I really love this movie. And the funny thing is, Chucky and Tiffany, they have probably the most toxic relationship of all time. So if you're looking for a fun, toxic couple to watch argue all the time and try to kill each other over and over again, then Bride of Chucky is a great one. And Bride of Chucky is number 3 on my ranking. And now we're down to the top 2. Now, these final 2 are really hard to decide which gets first place, but I decided first place is going to go with the one that's more, in my opinion, more entertaining. Therefore, at number 2, I give the original Child's Play. Now, I don't have to say much. This movie's iconic. This launched one of the most iconic characters in not just horror history, but in cinema history overall. There's not one person on this planet that has never heard of Chucky. And Child's Play was so big when it came out. It was a huge hit. And when you think about it, like when I watch it now, it's not really that scary. It's, it's really toned down a little bit compared to a lot of other horror films. It's very toned down. But at the time that it came out, this was a big deal, but still great. The kid that plays Andy Barclay in this movie is great as well. He's a very good kid actor. He still is in the Chucky franchise even now. He's in the Chucky TV series, so his hunt to kill Chucky once and for all is still going to this day. And Chucky is the same way. Chucky is still trying to kill him to this day in the franchise. And that's one of the things I really enjoy about this franchise, is the story is all connected So through all the films and the TV series, there's characters that re-pop up and stories that, may have disappeared for a while, but then they come back. Like Chucky's hunt for Andy during Curse and Cult of Chucky. They put it to the side to start a new story, but then in this Chucky TV series, they brought it back along with the new characters. So yeah, Child's Play, number 2 on my ranking. It could have been number 1 easily, but for now, number 2, simply because the one above this I just find to be a very entertaining movie, and one that I could watch over and over again. Also, shout out to whoever was behind the casting of this movie, because whoever casted Brad Dourif as the voice of Chucky was a genius, and I don't know if they realized how big of an impact they made casting Brad Dourif as Chucky. There's no one else I could imagine doing the voice of Chucky. He's the only one. And at number 1, we have what might be the best movie in the franchise, Child's Play 2. Now, this movie continues off from the first one. Andy Barclay is thrown into like a foster care sort of thing. He's adopted by these parents that look after him, along with another teenage girl that's also being looked after by these parents. So you get a nice brother-sister sort of bond between these two, and that, in my opinion, this movie has the best characters in the entire franchise for a single film. I love the final 30 minutes of this movie. I think it's just so much fun. It's like a final battle between Andy and Kyle versus Chucky, and it all takes place in this toy factory, and this toy factory just happens to be a good guy doll factory, so they're surrounded by Chucky dolls. Of course, none of them are possessed, only Chucky's possessed, but it's just a great scene environment to have all those Chuckies and these factory machines making new ones. Meanwhile, Andy and Kyle are being hunted by Chucky and trying to run from him. I'd say the main thing that makes this movie so great is the chemistry between Andy and Kyle. They're such a great brother-sister duo, and I'm really glad that they keep their story going in the TV series. One of the things I'm hoping is that everything eventually gets a good ending in some way. They canceled the series, so at the moment the Chucky story is kind of paused, but the creator of Chucky has said that he's working on hopefully making a movie. So what I'd like to see going forward is a final movie with the past and the present, all the characters that have gone against Chucky all working together, which they kind of already have in the series, but one last time, finally defeating the doll, especially because Brad Dourif's getting older, and I don't want the franchise to end and then someone else I don't want the series to never end and then someone else taking the spot of Chucky and continue it forever and forever. But yeah, Child's Play 2, this is a very fun movie. One of my favorite slasher movies of all time. I look forward to rewatching this franchise every year, especially around Halloween time. Some franchises I'll do a few movies out of the franchise to watch. Kind of like Elm Street. I enjoy all the Elm Street movies. But typically, because there's 7 of them, I only watch the first one, the third one, and then New Nightmare. But with the Chucky franchise, for the most part, I try to rewatch all of these because I just find them all very entertaining. And that's my ranking for the Chucky franchise. I look forward to doing this again in the future, maybe, when hopefully they make another movie. I'm really looking forward to that. I would love if they continued the show, but I would also enjoy just another movie. As long as they continue Chucky in some way and give it a proper ending before it's too late, I think that would be really good. If you're a fan of Chucky as well, let me know in the comments. Let me know what your ranking is, if you agree with my picks or if there's anything you would move around. And also let me know if there's any franchise out there that you'd like to see me rank in the future. Besides the Chucky franchise, I would say my other 2 favorites are Scream and the Evil Dead franchise. Those 2 franchises, in my opinion, each movie in that franchise is solid. There's not a bad movie in those. So yeah, for sure those two franchises I will rank in the future. Because I just really enjoy them. The next video I come out with should be a physical media haul. I'm planning on doing 2 of those. I'm going to do one that focuses mainly on Criterions that I got for the month because of the big Barnes & Noble 50% off sale. And then I'll do a regular physical media haul of the new releases, like Final Destination got released and Thunderbolts comes out next Tuesday. So yeah, look forward to those coming out. They'll be out hopefully the first couple weeks in August. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one.